Well, greetings everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Hades Corner. It's me, Hades, and you have the little lamb I got from Jens a couple of years ago. That's here, and I also have Stefan, the little hedgehog in the can. What do we have here? We have Bowie and Jens. Ahoy, ahoy, gentle people and gentle ponies. Okay, so the streaming beer for tonight is from Buhaste. Mute. Ooh, that's too bad. Muted. What the fuck? Jens can hear me. Is now better? Bowie says I'm muted and Jens can hear me but not very loud. Okay, how about now? Because sound is okay because I was recording earlier today, so I recorded some beer videos. Anyway, the beer for today is from Pyhaste. Pyhaste is an Estonian brewery, and this is called Dominion Imperial Stout, and it has 11% alcohol by volume, or ABV, and it says an imperial stout brewed with peanut butter and molasses. So should be good. Oh my god. Smell is peanut butter off the top. Really, the taste of peanuts. The peanuts is really prominent in this beer. It really is. Katya needs to have a taste of this. Be right back. There we go. Katya likes it, says it's interesting, and it would require an authentic, a good glass from Puhasted that is meant for this type of beer, because Katya is now used to drinking beers from an appropriate glass, like Shime from a Shime glass, Leffe from a Leffe glass, etc. Because I've acquired some of those. Mm. I'll reply to your. There we go. So, what is the topic today? That is autism. What is it? Many of us have heard about it, and I've worked with autistic people, and I've specialized. Those of you who do not know, I'm a nurse by training, and I've worked with my current employer close to 5 years now, and I have previous work experience in the field of disabled people. Now, I myself, I have Asperger syndrome, which is all on the autism spectrum. Um, it's a spectrum. It's very it's like a sphere, not even a scale like this, but it's a sphere of things of things really. So that one there. Okay. So how does, for example, let's take from Wikipedia, the lovely Wikipedia. I have the page out here. Autism spectrum, or ASD, or simply autism, is a neurodevelopmental disorder which quote unquote characterized which is characterized by persistent deficits in social communication and social interaction across multiple contexts, and quote restricted repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities, and sensory abnormalities are uh, often included in the diagnostic manuals. Now, these sensory abnormalities can include um, hyper or hypersensitivity to touch and sound and light. So, for example, I have what is called hypersensitivity to touch. Uh, so that means that I I have a deficit in the sensation of touch. That means that I need to, for example, sleep with a weight blanket. I think it's 9 or 10 kilos, the one that I have, because and it when I get sensory overload, and I'm stressed or something, the weight blanket can help me calm down, and that is used with many autism spectrum people. And the classification is been in DSM-5, ICD-10, and ICD-11, and there is so-called comorbidity uh, that goes with autism. That, that there are many, shall we say, certain things that well, comorbidity, shall we say. Um, a lot of research indicates that autistic people are significantly more likely to be LGBT and specifically trans or gender diverse. I've talked about this gender diversity with autism uh, before on my channel on Hades Corner. That was a long time ago. That's a long time ago, I think. Um, where do I have it? I mean, I should have, looked it up. Should have looked it up, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time. A long, long time. Gender dysphoria and autism spectrum. That was uh, in 2021. So in March 2020. So there we go. There is, by several magnitudes, the the probability of a transgender, of an autistic person to be gender diverse, it's the probability goes up by several magnitude. It was at least three or at least 2 or 3 times more likely. And there's been a 2021 online survey of 16 to 90-year-olds, uh, which revealed that autistic men, autistic males between 16 and 90 years old are more likely to identify as bisexual than their non-autistic peers, while autistic females are more likely to identify as gay than non-autistic counterparts. And people on autism spectrum are significantly more likely to be non-theistic than members of uh, the general population. And I will provide you a link in the chat. I'll update the description box. So I forgot to put this link in. This links in. And autism has a the possible causes, for example, to begin with, the exact causes are unknown, but it has there is a genetic component in it. Uh, so it's unknown, but there are there's a genetic component to it. I know families that have I've encountered families who have autistic people in several generations. Now, correlation now for comorbidities, there's um, a lot of them, but the most common ones that I would I would say that there are, based on my personal experience in working with autistic people and other people with other disabilities. Now, quite often there are intellectual disabilities. Um, and the most common medical condition occurring in autistic people is epilepsy. Um, Also, there are language disorders. There are with intellectual disabilities comes language issues or language disorders, shall we say? Delayed, for example, delayed development of speech, inability to um, express their their emotions and needs in particular, um, in verbally. They're verbally challenged, a lot of autistic people, and anxiety disorders also go with have comorbidity with autism spectrum. And as mentioned before, the sensory processing issues like touch and sound. Touch and sound are the most common. I would say pretty much. I would dare to say that every single autistic person has um, sensory issues, namely, um, namely there are uh, touch and sound sensory abnormalities. I would say that with sound and touch, all autistic people have those to some degree. So it's really interesting, and I have and also uh, autistic people, the childhood autism or Conner's autism and Asperger's autism. They have this common theme where people have trouble recognizing their needs. For example, for example, hunger or going when they need whether or not they need to pee. Like they many have to. For example, I have problems with recognizing when I need to eat. For example, I might forget to eat because I might not recognize that I need to eat, that I'm hungry, that I haven't eaten in a while, and when I do, I get hangry. And then there are a number of other things, and we also it's just having and also one big comorbidity with autism is ADHD and ADD. So those a person with autism, it's very common to see ADHD or ADD with people with autism. So it's very common to see these together. So what makes it and autistic people have very often have these special interests in things like uh, planes or cars or something like that, or cartoons or um, fantasy characters, or might submerge into things like, say, Lord of the Rings literature, and acquire all possible information there is about, say, Frodo Baggins or the elves, or learn some of the elvish languages. So it's really, really, really interesting seeing. How does this work? I mean, okay. Now then, and also many other, many syndromes that have. It's also called geeking out. Yes, geeking out is one thing, you know, but then the geeking out is one thing, but sub going into a narrow thing with when an autistic person really submerges him or herself um, really into something, their special interest, it's just way beyond just uh, geeking out, because it's just the outside world just disappears. Can't hear anything, can't see anything, might spend hours on end on something like, let's say, Frodo Baggins or Star Wars or some Disney character or something of that nature. Uh, yes, Bowie. I'm aware of there being of certain car manufacturer being a huge fan of the a huge man fan of the mustache man. So I and he the car manufacturer, did you hear he actually went went to an event or organized by the an event a political event of the party who supports the Austrian the Austrian corporal the Austrian corporal fans of Germany organized a political rally, and the car manufacturer went and gave a speech there for the German fans of the Austrian corporal. So there you go. And the car manufacturer is works for the U.S. government. So interesting, as Jeranism would say. Interesting. As I was saying, um, Jan says I've had that happen when I, zoning out when when I came across a kitten that wanted to play. Everything else was bog grab. I can understand what you're talking about. I have a dog, and when sometimes just everything goes away when I just have some good time with the dog, and chill out with the dog on the sofa on a cold day. It's really wonderful. Anyway, a lot of other um, syndromes, such as Fragile X syndrome, have comorbidity with autism. People who have, for example, as this X um, Fragile X syndrome tend to have autism, and there are other syndromes too. I've encountered people with Down syndrome who have they haven't had really official diagnosis, I think, but they have these features of these autistic features that for with people, and people with autism people uh, have tend to be more burnout is more common with autistic people quite often, and often autistic people have unusual or notable abilities like uh, ranging from splinter skills like memorization of trivia, which I actually have. I have this really good ability of memorizing trivia to really rare talents of artist being an autistic or music or even savant. Um, and sensory over abnormalities can be found with over 90% of autistic people. And autistic people often have this spiky skill profile. You know, some are really low skilled in certain things, but high skilled in some other things. And autistic people are really typically really bad at reading people. People Autistics have the tendency of just babbling on about their own interests without realizing that the other person may not be that interested in this same topic. Uh, so and also the problems with social interaction make it quite hard to maneuver in the world of normal people, like anything from having a normal conversation with people can be uh, incredibly uh, difficult. Looking into you know making eye contact, keeping up a conversation, and I've been told that a normal conversation would be uh, like going back and forth, like but what I have noticed that people are offended if I just say if I just you know let them speak and listen and just don't comment anything until they're finished until they've talked and talked for a, for a while, and I'm just quiet, and I've been told that, and then only then when the other one is completely finished will I then um, start replying, and that I've been told is not what a normal conversation would be. So, and also what's called emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is often something that um, autistic people lack in or are bad at. We can't we can't really read. We lack the ability to understand non-verbal clues about other people's feelings. I mean, I thought I was maybe I was over 30 years old when I learned that I was told that other people actually can. This is something that these things are something that people usually don't do. So good to know for a 30-year old, and that explained a lot of why people have reacted to many things the way they've done for myself. Yeah. So, and also because of these being so different can be really difficult um, for autistic people's self self injury can be something that happens, and people autistic people of themselves are relatively more, relatively of more, people of autistic people offering themselves is more common than a lot more common than neurotypical people, unfortunately. And there's been studies showing that up to 40% of autistic adults have have currently or have had in the past depression. And mental health, and approximately 8 in 10 people with autism suffer mental health issues at some points in their lives, whereas 1 in 4 in the general population suffers from mental health problems during their lifetimes. So 2.5 out of 10 versus 8 out of 10. So that's quite sad, really. And so self injury could also self harm, like hitting themselves, or some young autistic people who have adults, why not, who have this so-called childhood or Gardner's autism and had intellectual disabilities. They often, hit themselves in the head or in the ears when they've had too much of sound, or when they or hitting themselves when they lack when they have the hypersensitivity, or the lacks in the sensory area of touch, when they need more, when people need they just need the extra sensory input, and then they do it by self-harm, by hitting themselves or something like that, when they or hand biting or head banging, when they need the extra sensory input. So it's quite curious thing. However, these can lead to injury or passing away. I'll have a look what the dog was barking at. There we go. I don't know what that was all about. The dog had something to bark about. I have no idea what the problem was. Anyway, how have you, dear people, been? We have Jens and Bowie at least in the chat. So. Yeah, I've had a lot. I've had a lot to do in recent weeks and months, maybe, if you will. And I was thinking of streaming a week ago, but because I start, not this weekend, but the weekend before that, because yes, well, life keeps happening. Yeah, it does. And I was supposed to um, stream the weekend before last, but then I got some extra shifts at work. I worked overtime, so now and I was supposed to have one more day off tomorrow and start nights on Wednesday. But now I'm starting nights tomorrow. I have an extra shift, so it's good money. I mean, I get some extra. I get like um I get something like 20 euros an hour extra. 20 to 30, it depends. Like 20 euros. 22, 23 year 20 22, 23 euros extra per hour. So what I do, the first 18 hours are you know, 1 point, 150% extra, and after that it's two 200% extra. So it's Bowie is having plumbing issues. I hope you, I honest, if I remember correctly, you live in the US. I hope you don't live anywhere near the LA house fires or the forest, the wildfire area. I hope you don't live anywhere near that. It's horrible what's going on there in LA area. Anyway, um, I haven't really. I don't think I've really talked about this, but we are saving up money to go to Japan in August, November time, somewhere around there. In late October, um, early November for 2 weeks. Uh, so because we've decided to get married in October 25th, I think it was. So for the trip, then of course I'll be compiling compiling a video for the channel when we get back. It'll be about 2.5 weeks in Japan. And I used to do judo for a very long time. When I was young, 10 years maybe. So we're planning on getting of going to the Jigoro Gano's grave. Jigoro Gano is the founder of judo. Yeah, it's a honeymoon in Japan. Yeah, it is. It's a honeymoon in Japan. Mm. So we our decision came to the point where at the point when we get married, the our fifth anniversary is on the 22nd of October. So we decided to to get married a few days after that. So on the 25th, I think. So and then what happens? Not sure. I mean, we've been talking about a lot of things. How to maybe buy a house at some point somewhere. Uh, when we get to that point. Bowie says our plumbing issues are so bad we have water leaking out of the bottom of the toilet. Oh shit. That's horrible. That's really vile. Really, 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 really vile. That's horrible. Bowie, that's almost like being cursed. It's like what, like a Japan. It's almost like a Japanese horror film. You start leaking some black stuff from your toilet, and the next thing you know, you got some long haired long haired girl lurking out of the toilet seat. So that's the next step, I guess. Black stuff. So it's some sludge, I guess. So that would actually be considered like really really bad plumbing problems, I guess. So and one is falling apart. Yeah, sounds like it. And one, oh yeah, and there's something that I don't think I've really talked about with you people. I One dream that I've had, I've been dreaming of getting this van life kind of stuff. When people live in the van, their vans, they build a van. They're like a camping van. yeah, like van kind of stuff. So I've been dreaming about getting a camping van bus, like having a bus converted, like uh, full sized bus converted into a camping van. What it, I'm not entirely sure what the actual word for it is. Recreational vehicle. Not like something akin to what Walt and Jesse had in certain series. Like Priscilla, the Queen of the Desert. Yeah, exactly. So stuff like that. Yeah. And the one that I've been looking at is um, it has it even has a sauna in it. It has a sauna in it, and it's got a fresh water tank of 400 liters and grey water tank of 600 liters. It's got this uh, what do you call it? An aggregate, and it has an aggregate, to produce power like electricity. And it has a solar panel on the roof. A Winnebago, kind of, yeah, kind of, I guess, yeah. I'll just go and check. Katya's going to bed because I'll have to stay up because I'm switching my rhythm from day to night. So I'll see if Katya needs saying goodbye, good night to. sorry about that. It took a while. No, the chat log is gone from there. Now then, suddenly I've had these copyright issues with some music clips from like 2 years ago, which is quite weird if you ask me. Anyway, I've for a YouTube's special kind of thing, I've been considering at some points I'm not saying because this um up until maybe October time, I'm just trying to save up money for going to Japan. Um, I, but maybe after that, maybe towards the end of the year, after going to Japan, or so, or who knows if even before that, I don't know. Probably after that. Um, I'm thinking of because I made the true crime episode about Jennifer Fairgate, so I'm thinking of actually saving up the money to go to Oslo, Norway, and actually stay a night at the room where Jennifer Fairgate stayed at, and make a video about that. That you know, going to the spots, like I said, going into the real life place. Like I did with the case of Pia Ristikankare, the Jehovah's Witness girl who went missing back in '88. Unfortunately, her dad died last summer without ever knowing to what happened to his girl. So, oh, there's been a new. I think I haven't actually watched the new new stuff that has come from Yle, which is the Finnish equivalent to uh, say BBC or CNN. So, and I'm still waiting whether or not they would do Yle would do some extra episodes on Pia Ristikankare, on the Pia Ristikankare case, because there has been within um, the past year alone, there have been developments in the case. For example, the raids at the Jehovah's Witnesses headquarters. What happened? What did they find out? What's up? What happens there? So I wish someone, some big name would, like Yle or some other, or some Finnish big name reporter would do something about it. I really hope something of the nature would happen in the Pia Ristikankare's case. I really I really would. I really would like to see that. I I mean I could go and make requests for uh because there is something in Finland. There's something called publicity law, by which a lot of the police and court documents, most of police documents regarding investigations and such, and court documents are public information and avail and can be made and can be searched, requested for reading by everyone if they have if it's for some purpose. So if they have a reason, they're allowed, unless these documents have been uh, specifically made, unless these documents have been specifically made uh, redacted or secret. So, some are in the National Archive, and some need to be requested. For example, some documents from the case of Pia Ristikankare need to be requested from the Finnish National Archive, and others I may have to request from the local police department. Although they've been, you know, merging the police department. So I'll have to go and see which police departments I'll need to approach. I'll probably need to approach the Keskusrikos police, which is that kind of uh, FBI kind of thing, FBI or MI5. Well, pretty much FBI or Central Kriminalpolisen. I think there's something equivalent to that in Sweden. So and I have this kind of things uh, in planning phase, if you will, when it comes to long term channel stuff, doing some long term channel stuff. Anyway, so before this gets way too long, I think it's time for me to say goodbye for tonight. I will see you in the next video. I hope you like this. Check the links in the description box down below. Leave me a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Check the Patreon, PayPal, Discord, playlists, etc. All is down there. Bye bye.